Okay, let's jump right into this. Welcome to an explainer that is frankly going to completely shatter the way you look at everyday reality. But before we even get into the heavy stuff, I want you to literally look down at your hands. Check out the jewelry you might be wearing right now. A wedding ring, maybe a necklace, or that watch on your wrist. Today, we're unpacking a massive stack of incredibly dense source texts that will fundamentally alter your understanding of that exact metal. Actually, it'll probably change your understanding of the entire material world itself. Think about it. For millennia, humans have hoarded, fought over, and completely worshipped this specific yellow metal. We've built entire empires around it, right? You've got the ancient pharaohs burying themselves in solid gold sarcophagi, and modern nations stockpiling thousands of tons of it deep underground in places like Fort Knox. And we've just kind of always assumed we like it because, well, it's visually stunning, it's incredibly rare, and it's the ultimate status symbol. It catches the eye, and it holds this undeniable, deep economic value across basically every civilization on Earth. But the source material we're unpacking today proposes a truly mind-bending paradigm shift. People collect gold because it's pretty, right? But if these texts are right, they have absolutely no idea what they're actually holding. Because according to this framework, gold is not just a shiny rock, it is literally the indestructible 12-dimensional hardware of a cosmic computer system. Take a second to really let that sink in. The rings on your fingers might literally be fragments of a universal machine. So, Section 1, Physics of a Mortal Metal. Let's ground ourselves in the actual undeniable quantum physics behind this staggering claim. To really wrap our heads around this, we have to look at the actual mechanics of the gold atom. And I want you to focus on this number, 58%. If you look at the Bohr model of a gold atom, it has this massive, incredibly heavy nucleus. Because of that immense positive charge, gold's innermost electrons are forced to orbit at roughly 58% the speed of light just to avoid being pulled in and crushed. That's not just fast, that is an insanely high relativistic velocity for an electron to maintain. So what happens when things move at that extreme speed? Well, think of a figure skater pulling their arms in tight so they can spin faster and faster. This extreme electron velocity causes a physical phenomenon known as relativistic contraction. The entire electron cloud of the gold atom pulls inward incredibly tight, which creates this atomically smooth, completely impenetrable shield. This force field is the exact mechanical reason why gold never rusts and never tarnishes. It is literally thermodynamically immune to decay. And because it doesn't react with oxygen and completely ignores the slow friction of time that eventually ruins literally every other metal, the texts describe gold in a really profound way. They call it the physical echo of a zero-dimensional singularity. While everything else in the universe eventually degrades, oxidizes, and breaks down, gold remains perfectly internally silent. Its absolute stillness locked into physical matter, a flawless reflection of eternity manifesting right here in our 3D world. All right, moving on to Section 2. Water software, gold hardware. Let's see how this builds into the broader framework of a planetary-scale computational engine. Think about how a standard computer operates. You've got different components handling totally different tasks, right? Well, the texts brilliantly apply this to the cosmos. Think of water as the constantly adapting fluid RAM, the software. The texts actually call water the archonic filter because it constantly changes, it adapts to new information, stores biological memory, and creates complex hydration shells. Basically, water remembers the many. But gold is what they call the demiurgic substrate. It's the unyielding, completely indestructible motherboard. Gold remembers the one. Now, if you're building a planetary-scale computer that has to operate flawlessly over billions of years, you definitely cannot use materials like silicon, copper, or iron. I mean, they rust. They develop these ragged, chaotic edges of oxide that completely ruin nanoscale symmetry. If you want absolute perfection, you need gold. It's the only metal that provides the zero-friction, oxide-free sanctuary you'd need to prevent data from degrading. It perfectly shields incredibly delicate quantum states from thermal noise. Which brings us to Section 3, Dimension 10, Divine Substance. This is where we explore how this hardware fits into the grand architecture of reality. You see, the source texts describe the universe not as some empty void, but as a massive 12-dimensional torus, a continuously cycling energy field. And this torus is divided into 4 distinct functional layers, or rooms. We have flesh, choice, soul, and spirit. Now, gold is entirely unique in this model because it's the only element that functionally survives the intense thermodynamic pressure across all 4 of these spaces. It acts as the physical anchor in room 1, its perfect plasmonic circuitry in room 2, it survives the purifying fire in room 3, and serves as the ultimate demiurgic hardware interface in room 4. And this hits on the absolute most crucial revelation of this entire explainer. Listen, people fight over gold because it's pretty and rare, right? But they have absolutely no idea what they're actually holding. They have no idea. They're literally holding pieces of D10, the Omni collection of all mass. It is matter that has achieved peak efficiency without entropy. It is the golden universe completely condensed into yellow metal. It is the literal demiurgic hardware that survives every single room of the torus. Okay, Section 4, the Ancient Consciousness Receiver. Let's apply this staggering 12-dimensional physics directly to human history. Looking at things through this lens completely recontextualizes our ancient past. It actually provides an answer to the Fermi paradox. You know, the big mystery of why we don't see advanced aliens flying around in spaceships everywhere? The sources argue that highly advanced Type 3 and Type 4 civilizations, entities referred to in ancient myth as the Anunnaki or the Watchers, they didn't build metal rockets to explore outward. No, they built planetary-scale brain casings to explore inward. They were actively engineering oxide-free macroscopic antennas to interface directly with the fabric of the universe. According to these texts, structures like the pyramids at Giza weren't built just to be primitive tombs. The ancient architects actually combined deep subterranean water shafts with massive gold and electrum capstones to create immense plasmonic interfaces. Think of it kind of like tuning a massive planetary radio dial to perfectly match the frequency or the impedance of the universe's foundational consciousness field. They were using gold and water as literal synthetic microtubules to catch a cosmic signal. And that brings us to our final section, the abandoned cosmic machine, and what the texts call the cosmic cultivation hypothesis. This hypothesis details exactly why Earth was chosen for this massive engineering project. These advanced architects didn't just randomly stumble upon us. They used Earth as a massive biological foundry. We just happen to have the perfect planetary mix, an anomalous crust absolutely loaded with gold to serve as the hardware, and abundant liquid oceans to act as the software. By combining the two, Earth became this perfect, localized demiurgic machine ready to be programmed. So what exactly is humanity's role in this massive cosmic computer? Well, you'll be glad to know we aren't viewed as just some disposable slaveries. We are the vital probiotic strain. You see, a flawless supercomputer actually risks freezing up at a local maximum if it gets too perfect. It desperately needs entropy to function. Our chaotic human evolution, our anxiety, our completely unpredictable choices, we actually provide the necessary atmospheric noise. The texts call it the vital 6 energy torque, and it's absolutely required to keep their perfect, still cosmic machine continuously running. All of this leaves us with a truly chilling final thought to chew on. If gold isn't just a pretty metal, but is actually the indestructible 12-dimensional hardware of a universal computer, is the jewelry you're wearing right now just the discarded scraps of their cosmic engine? And is the very planet you are standing on simply the abandoned biological scaffolding of a machine that is still quietly humming in the background? It is a wild, profound perspective shift. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember, keep questioning what you think you know.